Okay. So actually, they asked us to talk a little bit about iTDi, which is International Teacher Development Institute. Yeah. Okay. And it's people often ask us sort of like, where is iTDi, and how do I join, and what are you trying to do? Right? So the simple answer is that our goal is to provide excellent quality professional development that's accessible to any teacher in the world, even from an internet cafe, low bandwidth. We want it to be as excellent as anything available, high tech, but accessible to those teachers also who don't normally get to participate, and then priced at a level that teachers anywhere in the world can afford. So, and we try to accept as many currencies as possible. But we're still at about 50% scholarship and 50% paid. And so we're very, very proud, actually, that over in many of our courses, over half of the students are there at no cost at all.
Can you talk about who we is?
We. Well, me, Barbara Hoskins Sakamoto, is one of the we. And then there's Chuck Sandy, and Stephen Herder, Gareth Knight, and Scott Thornbury are on the board of directors. And a lot of it came out of our own work with teachers around the world, and feeling bad that we fly in and do a workshop for 1 or 2 days, and that's all the professional development teachers in that country might have. But it wasn't until probably 5 years ago that technology actually had advanced to the point where it was possible to use the available technology to reach teachers in those countries. Does that answer we?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So now, who are you? We know who we are now. So who are you?
I'm Mike Griffin. I live here in Seoul, and I do some work with teacher training, and also I teach English to college students here.
And
I'm Josette, LeBlanc, and I also do teacher training in Daegu at Gyeongyang University. I've been in Korea for about 10 years. Yeah. And I'll talk about iTDi later.
I'm just visiting Korea, not teaching this term, being lazy. My name is Anna Loseva, and I'm a teacher from Moscow, Russia. I live there and teach there, and I have other plans, but yes, so far that's the situation.
And I think that, because a lot of people wonder sort of what kind of club, iTDi is, and it's kind of hard to explain because it's, anybody, all you have to do is say, I want to join in. Okay, you're in. So, how did you get into iTDi, and what do you do? What do you do in the organization?
I guess I found out about iTDi, I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe. I was at a KOTESOL conference here, and Chuck Sandy was presenting about iTDi. And actually, I think I saw Anna's picture there.
Not that big, maybe.
Yeah, it was just Anna. And no, it was.
Well, because we like to use our best assets.
He had a slide of pictures of teachers from all over the world, and he mentioned. These are all the teachers that are in iTDi, and he said, and a lot of the questioning was, how did they get involved? And Chuck said, just join Twitter. Trust me, if you join Twitter, you're going to meet these fabulous teachers. And so I did. Mike did too.
I sat behind Josette in that presentation, or maybe next to, but
yeah, it was behind. Spoke to Chuck afterwards and joined Twitter and met Anna and met Barb and from there I just got involved in iTDi. I do blogging now for iTDi. I've also taken some classes, some wonderful classes with Shelley Sanchez Terrell. Is it
Terrell?
That's how you say it. And I'm part of an amazing community now, at iTDi, and I learn a lot and I share a lot. So.
What does it mean to do blogging for iTDi?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm an iTDi mentor, and that means basically sharing your ideas or your approaches to teaching. That's one thing in writing. So some Chuck may offer a subject, like I did one
a theme or a topic.
A theme or a topic. One I did recently was research, and I wrote about my experiences with teacher research. So it's self-reflection and sharing your teaching experiences.
Well, and one of the principles, we have like 10 principles in iTDi, and one of the main ones is that everybody has something to learn and everybody has something to share. Mm-hmm. And so the idea that it doesn't matter how long you've been teaching, you can still learn. And a lot of teachers who come into iTDi don't always feel that they have anything worth sharing. Right? They're used to having experts tell them. And so it's quite a unique experience to actually have teachers sharing and then find out that what you have to say is also valuable.
I would say the blog is an incredible resource.
Oh, it's amazing. I think there's over 130, 160 different.
I had a presentation one time. It was about classroom management. I just printed off 6 blog posts and, share these, discuss these, and I was like, thank you, iTDi. And here's a post from a guy in Hungary and whatever. Yeah.
So you also do a lot on the blog.
Here and there.
Here and there.
I don't blog quite as much as Anna.
No.
Well, Anna's one of the most popular bloggers. Whenever she has a post up, you get more views than I do.
I don't know how that happens. I'm just interested in writing, and this is one of the things that you said. Once you get in iTDi, you understand that people support you, and somehow you discover your talents and whatever. Just something that was inside you before, but now it just comes out. And I wanted to write always, and in this way I just find supported. And Chuck always says, it's a great job, thank you, it's a lovely post, everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, nice. And then I see comments, and they're still coming. Like, there are comments coming to the post that I wrote 2 years ago, probably. And now at KOTESOL, there were people who came up to me and said, oh, I read your post.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I have no idea that, because I sit there in Moscow in my flat, and I don't really realize how far it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the structure? You mentioned mentors. Are there other roles?
Anna's actually an associate.
So what does all that
Yeah.
mean?
Okay.
So,
Do you want to know how you got in? Have you ever heard how your face ended up
there
there?
was I know there was some napkin store.
There's a napkin. So Chuck and I, when we decided to write English for teachers, right, we knew we needed to have an English course for teachers because a lot of teachers either have very low English skills or just don't have confidence in their English. A lot of them have perfectly acceptable English.
And this is the iTDi course that you offer.
The English for teachers, yes. And so when we were going to write it, we thought, we want to make sure it's really relevant. And most English teachers don't particularly want to take a general English course. That's what they teach. So they don't want to take a course on making hotel reservations or, how to negotiate a price or something like that. So we wanted to have an English course that was actually for specific purposes, which was to raise the level of English necessary to participate in online professional development. So we wanted the English for discussions, talking about teaching. So Chuck and I sat down in a restaurant and said, okay, who are the 20 best teachers we know working online right now that would be role models, right? And we wanted non-native, we wanted teachers who'd learned English as a second language because they're the best role models for other teachers. And Anna's name was on the list. And we started asking, thinking that, we thought a few people might say yes, because it's not like we're paying anybody, right? And everybody said yes. So we had 20 associates, and what we did was came up with the big questions about teaching, like what is a teacher? How do you motivate yourself? How do you motivate your students? How do you get students to collaborate? How do you extend learning outside the classroom, et cetera, et cetera? And then Anna and the other 19 associates answered those questions in a Yahoo group, and we looked through at the transcripts of them to look for the relevant language and what was going to be the most productive, and we turned it into a language course. So and associates provided the content for the language course.
I just want to add that you said you were looking for people who would be able to develop a course with a language for professional development online, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, I'd been, by that time, was It was June 2011.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And by that time, I'd been on Twitter and active, I don't know what it means. I mean, I was just retweeting people and just basically knew very few people.
Right.
And I'm not sure how I got, like, into active view. And how
they found you.
Yeah, how they found me. But the fact is that I developed my own professional language while helping you write this course myself. So that's how it happened.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it was very serendipitous for us. And most of the stuff that we're doing, we've been sort of figuring it out as we go along, right? Mm-hmm. And making a lot of mistakes doing it, but learning. But I think that, there's a lot of stuff you can do online that you can't do in a course book, right? You can't teach collocations very easily in a course book, but it's really easy to do online, especially with authentic language. So we wanted to make sure it was really relevant. So teachers would take, in the teacher development and English for Teachers courses, teachers will take the online course and then they will write like a personal response. For example, the lesson might have examples of teachers, how I get my students to collaborate, and then they get a chance to write, how do you get your students to collaborate, or how could you get your students to collaborate? Right. It goes into the forum, and then mentors will come in and interact with the other teachers in there. And it's a very funky forum. It's very low tech, nothing flashy, because again, it needs to work from the internet cafe. Yeah. And so there's no animations. The videos are less than 3 minutes, and English for Teachers doesn't even have videos. It's just audio clips so that anybody can access it. But then for many of the teachers, interacting with the mentor is the first time they've ever used English to talk about teaching. And it's very affirming. And we get emails back, we being, in this case, I only know what comes into my inbox, but I share it. But, I know that you must get similar messages from people in the community. But I get messages saying, thank you. iTDi is the first group that I ever felt cared about me. Mm-hmm. That really cared about what I had to say.
This is kind of a basic concept of iTDi, I mean.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Being associated blogger or a mentor or whatever, everybody feels the same way. Yeah. That you're being cared for.
I think there's a very strong sense of community.
Right.
And sort of you have this connection with someone you've never met before. Right. I was at the same presentation Josette was speaking about before. Yeah. It's 2011.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
At KOTESOL.
Okay.
And then I went to Japan the next year to JALT. Right. And I met people I'd never met before, as though they were lifelong friends, and it was seriously incredible. It changed my life without any exaggeration. Right. Kevin Stein, who's a mentor as well, insisted that I stay at his house. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
Well, you guys are roommates this year,
This
right?
year we're staying at JALT together. And so for me it was like one sort of small example. Yeah. He was like, no, you're coming to Japan, you're staying at my house with my family. There's no question about it. He didn't demand that I bring whiskey or anything, and
that was just the bonus.
Yeah. And I felt the same way with, 10 people. Right. Like I was in an airport in Indonesia and wishing I met Icha, at the same time. I didn't happen to meet her that day, but it was like, I've never met this person before. I feel very close to this person. It's really powerful.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's what iTDi has done. It's taken venues like KOTESOL, or this concept of these conferences that we usually do face to face, but it's online and it's prolonged. It's every day. We get to know each other through Facebook or Twitter or blogs or the iTDi forum itself or the iTDi webinars that are.
Because I also do get messages from people saying, I'll never be able to go to a conference.
No.
I will never, I'll never be able to afford to go to a conference. And thank you for, letting me participate in these programs.
Yeah. The other thing was the sort of month-long programs.
Oh, the summer school MOOC. Mm-hmm. That was amazing, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. That was the first time bless Chuck for taking that on. It was the first time that we'd ever tried anything quite that big.
How many people were attended?
It's still growing, actually. The enrollment is still open. I think they might be up to like 3,000 now or something.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
So you can still access the...
Right, the recordings are all there. And so it's just like the blog. It's another incredible resource.
For me, that was really powerful too. Anna and I did a presentation.
Yeah.
And that was my first webinar.
Was it really?
Yes.
I didn't, you couldn't tell.
2 webinars.
That was great.
I mean, it's an experience learning and
Yeah.
everything.
That's good.
And it was really cool for me, living in Seoul, we're planning on Skype or email or whatever,
Yeah.
so feeling so kind of connected in this sort of modern world to prepare a presentation, thousands of miles away.
Well, and the egalitarian aspect, I think, is really important to me. I noticed that when Scott Thornbury and Penny Ur did the advanced class for us in was it June? I guess they did. And I looked at the audience of participants, and first of all, we probably had about 100 in the room, and I would say at least 50 of them were non-paying, right? Because of either currency problems or lack of income or just part of our own community, providing professional development for community members like you all. And then alongside them, we had 3 of the best-selling course book authors in the world working side by side with the teacher from Indonesia who couldn't even stay in the room the whole time.
Right.
And it's just like everybody is equal. Like all teachers deserve respect.
Yeah.
It's not like some teachers are better than others or...
It was an incredible sense of community, like starting up the chat on the
It's
Sunday
fun.
night here in Seoul, and hey, everybody's here, and we're all around the world, and let's get serious with some development now.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade the ride for anything.
Nice.
Any upcoming events or plans for growth?
Well, our goal would be to break even at some point. So while we love the idea of being able, we don't want to turn anybody away. So we think that anybody who wants to be in the courses, who wants to be in the lessons, should be able to be there. And we have, luckily, some very generous patrons who help us out because we still have costs. In order to keep our community private and safe, that means we have to keep it self-owned. We can't use any third-party platforms or anything. So we actually have to pay for a lot of things. So we would like to bring in more paying teachers to help cover the teachers who can't pay, because that seems like a very fair thing. Coming up, teacher development and English for Teachers are always ongoing. We are working on developing online certificate courses using those online lessons, which should be out by the end of the year. But immediately, in November, we are having an online course, advanced course, on neurolinguistics in English language teaching with Mark Helgeson and Curtis Kelly and Joseph Schultz. And they'll be looking at what we've learned about how the brain learns and how we can use that to improve our teaching and our learning, and also how we include culture in our teaching. And it's just going to be fascinating. And so, again, because we try to price them fairly, the basic certificate of completion is $49, which includes 4 online live sessions, and you get those as recordings as well for people who are in different time zones. They're based in Asia, so it'll be an Asia-friendly time. We have the materials for the course, the online discussions. It's a month long, so it's about 25 hours for the basic course is the amount of time I think it takes teachers to go through everything. Certificate of accomplishment is $75, and that will include extra projects and personal evaluation from the instructor. So the courses tend to be very small, like between 30 and 50 teachers usually, so there's a lot of interaction, and it's really easy to participate. And if teachers in Korea are interested in giving it a try, it's going to be a great experience just to try for, I guess, the price of lunch at Starbucks, maybe. If you get the big coffee.
One last question before we let you go to lunch. The name, iTDi, is not exactly roll off the tongue.
No?
Do you all call it iTDi? Have you thought about adding like a wonderful internationally or WITD or something like that?
No.
It rolls off my tongue quite smoothly.
Yeah, yeah.
It takes, sometimes we do end up, you end up typing like IDTI sometimes, right? But it's,
One thing I notice is people tend to capitalize the T and the D.
Yes.
yeah.
Which I think is sort of telling. Like that's the focus. Of course, the whole name is
That
important.
was Stephen Herder's idea, is the I and the I are small.
Yeah, that works.
And it's partly like I am small, right?
And it's a wonderful hashtag.
ITDI. Well,
short.
That matters.
Sure.
Yes, it matters a lot.
Well, and then the for teachers, by teachers, the motto is like, we have to remember it by Facebook. For teachers, by teachers.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Any final words?
I'm
Join in?
Yeah.
Changed my life.
Yeah, changed my life too.
Changed my life.
Yeah, wonderful teacher.
Changed my life.
Thanks to Barb. Yeah, so come on down to iTDi.
Join us online.
Yeah, yeah.
And join us in November for NeuroELT. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Thanks.